Welcome everyone. Just a quick introduction. So we have today Mr. Niraj Hutheesing, who is the MD and the founder at Cygnet Infotech, and we also have Mr. Jigar Doshi, who is the founding partner at TMSL. Just a very basic and a quick introduction. Let's move to the topic now. So e-invoicing, it is going to be a mandate from 1st of October for all the companies who are having the turnover of 500 crore and plus. This is the talk of the town today. And since we have the subject matter experts, the technical as well as the functional domain experts with us, I'll just take up the quick five most important and discussed questions that we have or that we cater to on daily basis from our prospects as well as our clients. So, sir, majorly we would like to understand from you both whether these will how the e-invoicing is going to impact the businesses today, and in addition to this, whether or not is this the tax simplified and how is it going to stop the evasion actually?
So, Keshav, first and foremost, it's going to impact the business as it has never been impacted by anything else. So, I would put it across, the impact will be more than demonetization. The impact will be much more than the GST rollout. Because if I cannot generate an e-invoice in time, it is very clear that my business will stop. And that is the ultimate disruption. If the systems go down, the business is going to stop. If the integrations have not been done well, the business is going to stop. So it is going to be a very, very major impact on the business. And when we talk about the second part, is it really going to stop evasion of the taxation? I would be very honest. The 500 crore plus companies are so strong in processes and so strong in their systems implementation and audits. They are the hardly people who are doing evasion. So the challenge is, it is kind of a model that we are trying to implement, and unless and until it percolates down to the smallest users and maximum to the B2C users for generation of e-invoicing, I am not very sure if it's going to help the evasion to that aspect. Government may have a different kind of data for which we may not have the visibility and they would know better. But as far as the type of customers and the clients I know, this is not really going to kind of impact that much in terms of tax evasion. But yes, it's going to be the biggest business disruption. And if the businesses get disrupted, which today only maybe 5 or 10% of the business are ready with invoicing, and if it gets disrupted, it is going to be a loss of revenue for the government. So that is a point I would like to make it. Jigar, you would like to add something?
Yes, sir. So you've covered it all, sir, and I would say probably the industrial evolution that we used to study about in our curriculum. This is a technology revolution, and till now we have seen multiple things happening, from hard copy of filing of returns to ACES portal to a GST portal, etc. But now we are seeing actually businesses getting changed because of e-invoicing. So the way Niraj sir is saying that this is going to be a clear disruption is something that one has to remember. But every coin has two sides. This is a disruption, but if someone is picking up it appropriately, this is an enabler also. Because if we chalk out the benefits of e-invoicing to the industry at large, probably 2 years down the line, when the gamut or the space of people, as Niraj sir was saying, the ultimate benefit will come only when the entire ecosystem is covering, within the e-invoicing parameters. If that really happens, then the number of hours that an employee is spending in the AP process, in scanning the invoice, in reconciliations, in processing the invoices for payments, etc., number of hours and the cost that will be saved is way too high than one can imagine today. So the real benefit will come after 2-3 years if it is implemented in the true spirit, the way they want to. But right now, the way it is happening, it is being pushed very heavily. I mean, I don't think so. There is any one single company I'm aware about who is not expecting an extension.
Yeah.
Of e-invoicing from 1st of October. Yesterday, I was attending one of the again discussion, and there was a debate of whether the extension should be till 1st of December, 1st of April, or 1st of June. There was no discussion whether there is any extension or not. That is the level of discussions happening. So that is where I will say the positive impact is coming up in later period. But right now the disruption is coming up, and that's the definition of impact, positive or negative.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yes. So, in addition to the points that you have just brought up, I would like to understand your comments on to whether or not for each and every business is automation the key for e-invoicing, or will just a manual upload work?
I would put it across, Kesha, manual approach, forget it. And Jigar bhai will be able to expand much more onto it, but I will just put across one particular time. What is the meaning of a compliance? As a layman, as a business owner, forget I know tax, forget I know invoicing, forget I know technology. As per the law, I am supposed to comply to the law of the
Yeah.
land. That is a very clear requirement that I need to do. Now, what it says is that I need to generate an invoice. If I am getting a kind of invoice above a company whose turnover is above 500 crore, then only I can take a credit of it. So these are the two things I need to do. Now, second requirement is till the audits happen and till the government audits happen, I am also supposed to keep the records for next 7 years. So if I say from post audit another 3 years plus 7 years, so around 10 years, I am supposed to keep the electronic records of it. Now, to maintain electronic records of what I have filed in GSTR1, what I have filed in e-way bill, what I have filed in e-invoice, and e-invoice portal is going to remove the data after 2 days. Yeah, in 1 day's time period.
Yeah.
Now, if I have to maintain that record, if I do not do automation, if I do not integrate my ERPs to the portals, multiple portals, if I do not have a checker system in between, which is checking what the ERP is doing,
Yeah.
if that is not put into place and if automation is not done, then yes, we will create huge amount of new jobs by the manual labor that will get deployed into it. But very honestly, the only option or the only way this is going to succeed is by automation. Put aside it benefits our business, put aside that, but without automation, I do not see any company or any company which is planning to do it manually is going to succeed. And I really would request all CFOs, please discuss with us. If in doubt, we will clarify your doubts. We will support you in terms of understanding the nuances of this challenge better. But automation is the only way, and digitization and automation is the only way by which we will be able to be compliant. This is a kind of a clear requirement. And not only have a maker system, a checker system in between is equally important, and a checker system which has all the three data coming and flowing into it and providing a reconciliation of it. So that is a kind of a requirement. There are so many companies today who are even struggling today to get the e-invoice data put into place. So that is a kind of a challenge everybody has.
Yes.
Yeah, Jigabhai.
Yes. So I think this question itself, brings the blood circulation very high, that whether automation would be required or not. I think, Keshav, very obvious, as Neeraj sir said. I will just bifurcate that word automation into two part. One is a basic level of integration, a robotic process automation and automation, basic level of level one. And second is intelligent automation. So
Okay.
probably the answer to your question is the basic level of integration and ERP talking to, getting the APIs and talking to IRP and getting the invoicing done. There is no brainer. The reconciliation automation, that is also the need of the hour, can be pushed some months later. But that also is a no-brainer that will be required. Otherwise, we are landing up in a zone wherein businesses are not important, but compliances and reconciliations are important. So people will not be able to focus on businesses, and they will focus on handling government notices and scrutiny, rightfully so, because government is not wrong in issuing notices. We should be mindful that if the data is saying this, they have to issue notices. In fact, one of the rules says that if the credit is much more than what the liability is, they are going to block the credit. 86A rule. So that rule is there, the law is there, the blocking of credit is happening. Government is not getting wrong in doing this, because they want to intend the activity to be done seamlessly. And automation is the only solution that one has to follow.
Very true. Yes. Just to the question, one more question, to the point that you just highlighted. So this question, I'd like to take it second, which is on the litigation challenges that we might come across. But before that, what are the challenges that you feel would come? Because since, only the 500 crore and above are the companies who are actually going to have it as a mandate from 1st of October. So how, as a buyer, will have to face these challenges is what we want to cover first, and then definitely on the litigation challenges also, we would like to have both of your views.
First and foremost, Kesha, the biggest myth
Yeah.
and the biggest misconception, and I would put it across to every company owner in this country, you all are being impacted. It is not restricted only to a 500 crore and above company. Very
Yeah.
simply, when I made this point in our internal company, we as a company are less than 500 crore. So as such, we are not supposed to go for invoicing. But when we had our internal discussion with our purchase, with our finance, with our accounts team, and I said that all of you are impacted and have you prepared for it? And the question is, how are we impacted? That was a kind of a question to us. We are not 500 crore. So
Yeah.
very simply, are you buying from companies who are 500 crore plus? The answer was yes. I said, then you will not be able to take the credit of those invoices unless and until they generate invoice. So first go and verify all your vendors who are 500 crore plus, who are not 500 crore plus, and ensure that from all those vendors you get a e-invoice. So this is a kind of a requirement that each company is going to get impacted, whether it's a 500 crore or not. And this is a very kind of a easy thing for a understand. And we had a very interesting debate onto it internally. So a company, who is at fault? If a e-invoice is not generated, who is at fault? In a layman's term, if I put it across, the first and foremost, as I understand correctly, and Jigar will correct me if I am wrong, but for every default for a company above 500 crores, so for every invoice that he does not generate as an invoice, he can be liable to a 25,000 rupees penalty. So that is a kind of a law what it says into it. But okay, that company is a defaulter, but I am a less than 500 company and I am a recipient of those kind of invoice. What happens to me? I cannot take a credit of it because it is not e-invoice. I also lose out onto that particular credit, and I am also penalized into the entire process because it is being done. Now that company will go and say, I have filed my taxes, I paid my 3B, I have paid my GST, I filed my GSTR1, I have done everything under the law, but he has not issued the invoice. And that is a reason why each of company like ours who's buying from a company which is 500 crore and above has to be very vigilant. And that is why I'll put it across, this impacts everybody. This is not restricted only to large companies. This is kind of impacting everybody today, and this realization is just not there in the industry, because I'm talking to 10 to 15 industry people on a daily basis, and this realization is absolutely not there in the industry. Yeah, Jigar.
The same thing, as Rajesh rightly pointed out, is going to impact everybody, Kesha. And just going a little technical, the rule is now amended to say that if the invoice, the person who is supposed to raise an invoice, which is e-invoice, and is not raising any invoice, it will not be treated as a valid invoice. So
Okay.
as a recipient, I will never be able to understand. I will have this business as usual. I will recover the invoice. I will make the payment. I will not understand whether this was a legitimate credit or not, because everything is there. I have received the services or goods. I have the GRNs. I have invoices. I have delivery challans. I have actually made the payment. It's appearing in two-way. Everything is there. But just one thing is not there: e-invoice.
Yeah.
So, and the rule is restricting me to claim the credit. So that is where government has correctly, I will not say smartly or in wrong manner, correctly amended the rule to say that it has to be mandated. Yes, there is a big fight happening since 3.5 years that why the casting liability is shifting from supplier to recipient. But that is what government has intended from day one. Multiple writ petitions have been filed. In fact, the new rule which has been there, which is not yet activated or notified, says that
Yeah.
recipient and supplier are going to be jointly and severally liable. So they are going to say that recipient is liable equally if there is any mistakes done by supplier. And we have to remember GST is a destination based consumption tax. So everything moves from supplier to recipients, even the responsibility. So that is where e-invoicing would be an important aspect, not only from output side but also input side.
Great. Yes. So moving ahead, on the litigation challenges that you foresee, we will love to understand, how from a point of view of a company have they to take care of e-invoicing.
I will tell you very honestly, Kesha.
Yeah.
And sorry, Jigar is a chartered accountant, a professional chartered accountant. The complexity and I would put it across, not the complexity of the law is quite crystal clear, but the understanding of the businesses is so low in terms of the challenges that they are facing, and they are looking at a limited benefit of saving some cost by not doing automation today or not being 100% compliant. They are trying to save some cost into the process, and that is going to come in terms of thousands and thousands of notices to them at a later date. And people are struggling today when they receive a notice of means like reconciling between e-way bill and GSTR1. They are struggling because that data is just not available with them. So it's
Yeah.
a kind of a absolute misconception in terms of the industry that we will be able to do that. And government is very correct even in terms of this particular e-invoice part.
Yeah.
If you generate an invoice and you do not cancel it onto the invoice portal, it will automatically move into your GSTR1. You go and amend that invoice or delete that invoice over there, then it is going to go to the tax officer in a kind of a update that this particular invoice by the supplier has been cancelled or amended. He will have that information and he's going to issue a notice, and it's going to be an automatic notice. He doesn't have to do anything, just the analytics is going to push these notices. So
Yeah.
as a business owners, we will keep on replying to these notices, and we are not even going into the deeper nuances of the tax or deeper parts of the tax, whether the percentage charged is right or wrong, or the place of supply challenges are right or wrong. We are not even going into that. This is pure compliance notice in terms of whether you are compliant or not. That notices are going to be so high, and that is what is going to affect the businesses. So I would really, and I would plead to the businesses, I will request to the businesses, please be aware of it. Please do not take this initiative lightly, because by taking it lightly today, you are just increasing your own burden in the coming years, and that is something we should not do that. So that is a request to the businesses from my side, and repeatedly I have been saying that in all possible forums that this is something which needs to be corrected. Yes, Jigar bhai.
Sir, I'll go little 30 seconds on 30,000 feet. So, Keshav, data is a new oil. Data
Yeah.
is electricity. And if you don't have a funnel to put the electricity, as in the oil, and if you don't have a correct tower to put the electricity, there will be short circuits and there will be blasts. So, very simply put, the data that we are going to give to the government, if it is not automated appropriately,
Yeah.
it is bound to receive, they are bound to receive the notices. Again, I wouldn't say anything is wrong, right? But what I would say is that kind of litigation, or within the litigation umbrella, the scrutiny is, I would say, litigation is basically defined to mean that I am not agreeing to something which government is saying.
Yeah.
That is that's a stage where I am, already survived all those points of tax positions or reconciliation. Pre-litigation period, which is the scrutiny letters, the letters of inquiries, the audits, the assessments, that is going to be a big challenge unless correct data is automated. Otherwise, in Neeraj sir's language, we are entering a reconciliation world. That is what is going to happen.
Yes, Keshav.
Great. Yeah, just some last question, a quick question to both of you. So most of the times the companies and the decision makers are unaware of how to go ahead on the e-invoicing piece. How do they plan it out? So any end comments from both of you, to help them further on planning it out for the
See, there are,
implementation specifically?
Kesha, very honestly, there are excellent providers available in the market, and including one of us. We are there to support them, help them. But there are multiple different vendors who have come up with very good solution. They should review those solutions and implement it. I would put it across, don't shy away from implementing. Go with a vendor who has a very good track record, who has the capacity to manage high volume data, and who has a complete exhaustive system which provides all types of reconciliation and provides additional features into it. Go ahead and do that, because that is the need of the hour. I would put it across, everybody is struggling. Means I would say there is a single company which says we are very smooth and we are absolutely integrated and able to generate invoices. That's a myth. Every company is struggling, because for the first time we are trying to put so many different variety of the invoicing models that we had into a single schema, and we have to kind of manage that and come up with a solution. It's not an easy ask, or it's a not easy task, I will put it across. And that is something which is going to be challenging, but it's a challenge if you execute it well. If you are kind of aware of how to go about it, it will make it means your life will become much more simpler going forward. And that is my request to all my business friends, that please implement it well to ease out the pain in the future. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jigar.
Uh, uh, I think Kesha, again, sorry, I'm little in a good mood on a Saturday, probably that's why I'm saying something. But yeah, again, I mean, looking at the story of Sher Aya. So we all used to talk about technology revolution, aega, and never it came. E-invoicing has come now, and Sher aa gaya hai. So might as well we wake up, we select the correct path of automation, make a project plan, appoint a project manager. Don't worry about the timelines. 1st October, 1st December, whether government is pushing it, not pushing it. Let's not focus there. Don't focus on cost for that matter for stage one. First, make
Yeah.
a plan appropriately. See where all you are getting impacted as a company, where all automation can come into picture. Then decide what all is priority one and what all is priority two. Make a plan A and plan B and start working towards it. Trust me, the experience with Niraj ji and with all of us together when we are working with our clients is not a Herculean task. It is just looking at a big mountain, but if you start climbing, you are going to be on peak of it very soon. And that's what I would recommend, that start sitting on it, work upon it. Don't worry about timelines. Everything will happen appropriately. Even if you're delayed by 3 months, manually you can do for 3 months with the hope that in 3 months automation will come in for good in your life, in your company. So that is the way I will always recommend companies to start working towards it. Majority have started, if you really ask me, but
Yeah.
still there is a lack of trust factor internally and as well as with the government. So we have to realize that it has to be looked up in appropriate fashion and move towards this automation journey through invoicing. And we should thank the Indian government that they are pushing it so hard that automation is actually coming into us without we really wanting it during the COVID times. But still it is coming on, and it's going to be benefiting us, all of us. In 2 years time, same session we will have again Kesha and Neeraj ji, and we will be saying yes, it was a wonderful time for the organization now.
Yes, definitely. And it's going to, like, the vehicle movement will become so fast, because now people will be able to, on a click of a button or a scan of a QR code, able to verify the authenticity of the invoice, and then you don't need to bother anything.
Yeah.
So many benefits are going to come out of it. But for that, that short term pain really needs to be taken. And ye share aya is the absolutely, I would say, right kind of comment onto it, because शेर आ रहा है या शेर सामने अब दिख गया है, and it is rather sooner than later we wake up onto it. So that is all, and thank you so much, Kesha. Thanks so much, Jigar,
Yeah.
for this session.
Yeah. Thank you, both of you. And hopefully we'll have other sessions, such sessions wherein we can take up more such questions from the industry.
Sure.
Thanks a
Thank you,
lot,
Kesha.
sir. Thanks a
Thank you,
lot,
Kesha. Thank
Jigar.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.